The United States of MAGA pedophilia is what we're living in. The one thing that's sticking to Trump like flies to poop is the Epstein thing. And we've got a video of Trump way back in the day glamorizing 10-year-olds and sensationalizing them as if he wanted to do something with them, like he was addicted to them like alcohol. We got that. Former GOP Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, comes out and basically says that this whole tariff houdini with Trump was bull jive. And I've got the video of him saying it. We'll discuss that. Trump actually wanted to do something good for the American people with that tariff money. He wanted to give everybody a dividend. But in true form, as I'm always telling you all, it's not just a war on racism we're fighting. We're also fighting a war on classism. And the rich people are telling Trump, hell to the no, you're not giving no money to the middle class and poor. We got that. And we've also got, ladies and gentlemen, the hypocrisy of Fox News and how when Democrats were in control, they hated pedophiles. But now that Trump is in control, they're doing a complete 360, all that and so much more. You're in the building with Lamont Tyson. Politics of being black. Let's get it.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that full. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
I'm in the building, Lamont Tyson. And one of the best things you can do to help me and other great content providers in this space is not just subscribe, but also click our videos. And if you have nothing else to do that day, click our videos and let them play in the background. And I'm partnering with a lot of people from the TikTok space and a lot of people from YouTube space. And here's some music from a young man who's creating music that I'm partnering with. Take a listen if you want to get something to get your mind off politics and just have something to play in the background. Go check out his YouTube channel. He just started it. Velvet Sunset 77. Great music for you to play in the background. Let's jump right on into Trump. The ladies of I've Had It found a video about Trump sensationalizing young girls. Let's look at it.
But here's some new footage corroborating his longstanding history of sexualizing teenagers, including his own daughter. Here he is talking about children that he wants to hire to work on his private plane.
A beautiful girl who was 17 or 18 applied to be a waitress. She's so beautiful. She's like a world-class beauty. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start? You want me to work at my plane anytime. Hey, you know, she worked at my plane. That's like a death wish she made, right? It's like an alcoholic. I have many friends that are wonderful people. They're alcoholics. You put scotch in front of them. It's like, this would be my form of alcohol.
I would think, I'm no psychiatrist or psychologist, but I would think that psychologists would explain sexual predators very much in the same way that they describe addiction and impulse control. And he is openly there talking about underage children, and he's talking about that's his alcoholism.
Ladies and gentlemen, none of this surprises everybody who's outside the MAGA bubble. Even the rich Republicans that support Trump know he's like this, and some of them are like that too. And that's not to say that I'm not upset with Merrick Garland because he didn't do more with the Epstein issue. There were a lot of things Merrick Garland dropped the ball on. So let's just get that 100 for the MAGAs that would sit here and run their mouth about why Biden didn't release it. We are upset that they didn't release it. And now your guy's in office and he should be releasing it, but his ass can't, because there's just an overwhelming amount of evidence that he engaged in the same behavior and was probably a part of that trafficking ring. And now they're trying to cover it all up so that it never comes out, so that there won't be something that could send his cankle's ass to jail before he dies. But it is causing a fracture with the MAGA base. Because Fox News, which is not a news station, ladies and gentlemen, it's just pure entertainment. They have figured out that they can lie to their people that watch the show about politics and real life. And that for whatever the reason, whether it's religion, whether it's fake patriotism, whether it's elitism, whether they want to be better than the blacks, because folks, don't forget, the lowest white person on the totem pole, if you can convince him he's better than the best minority on the totem pole, you will be able to, as a rich white guy, pick their pockets. And that's what Fox News is doing. Let me show you the mental gymnastics Fox News is playing current day based on what they said past day. Take a look at everything they were saying about Epstein back when Biden was in office.
Where was the FBI when Epstein was molesting kids? So a bank is caught financing someone's underage sex trafficking ring and no one goes to jail. But they want to put Trump in prison for the rest of his life over a dispute over a piece of paper. That is interesting.
It is interesting.
That contrast. Who protects a dead pedophile when children are raped? It saddens me that no one's thinking about these victims and everyone's covering up for the royal family, the politicians, the Bureau, Langley, and the media has just been disgraceful in their coverage. The media doesn't seem interested in the Epstein files. I wonder why. Democrats just uncovered a new cover-up, and it's the thing they've been covering up for years. Their new favorite word, not eggs, Epstein. Epstein used to be a forbidden word for Democrats. Now they can't get it out of their mouth. I have an 80-year-old black guy playing the guitar about Jeffrey Epstein. It's corny.
No, what's corny is your punk ass. That's what's corny. It's corny for you to even use the word corny because when you say corny, it sounds corny as fuck. Democrats haven't been trying to cover up the Epstein files. And Democrats are saying Epstein more than eggs because, first of all, it was never about the price of eggs in the first place. It was about racism. It was about keeping white males at the top of the food chain. And it was about the rich people getting their orgasms with these tax bills. And you got all that. And now that you don't have any much use for Trump, some of y'all are revolting against him, but then you go flip-flopping back and forth because there's still some usefulness you can have with Trump, but you guys are in this quagmire with your audience because you don't know what to tell them. You know good and damn well there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that Trump has something to do with Epstein, the island, probably him committing suicide, which nobody believes that was suicide. You've got people in the jail cell, hardened criminals that say there's no way that suicide could have been committed. But what is bothering me about this whole Epstein thing, the people who claim to be religious, follow the doctrine of Jesus, that should have been out of this thing a long time ago anyway, they are still beholden to Trump and MAGA. Apparently, unless you are a white Republican, that same group of people do not care about pedophilia. They do not care about the R word against women. They don't care. They don't care. Anything that can eat around the edges to reduce the minorities becoming the majority, they seem like their asses is all for it. But ladies and gentlemen, we can fight it. We've got to use the power of voting. We've got to. You've got to get involved in local politics. This was a long game for them. This mental infiltration that they've done has been a long game for Fox, to the point where they can say one thing in one interview and then a month later say the complete opposite when it's on tape. And they've got these people believing that what they said on tape wasn't true by claiming fake news. All news ain't fake. And if you believe the news is fake, why don't you take your lazy MAGA asses and click on the keyboard if you got one? And if you don't, use your jitterbug phone and look it up. Now, to further go into how the rich Republican class are starting to turn on Trump because they done got what they wanted from him. Take a listen at former Speaker of the House talk about these Trumps are nothing but a farce. I mean, these tariffs, excuse me. Well, Trump is too, but these tariffs are nothing but a farce. And it's just a whim that Trump comes up with whenever he wants to. Listen to this.
It's more than likely that the Supreme Court knocks out IEPA, the law that's being used for these tariffs, which doesn't have the word tariff in it. Then the president's going to have to go to other laws to justify tariffs. 232, 201, 301. There's a bunch of laws. Those are harder laws to operate with. They're dual tracking it right now. So you have these agreements. I spent a lot of time on trade agreements. That's what one of my jobs in Congress was at Ways and Means. And these agreements could be a little upended if he loses in court. Then he's going to have to revive a tariff. Plus, I think they justify tariffs based on trade deficits. I don't think that's the way to go, but then they threw a tariff on Brazil at 50%, and we have a trade surplus with Brazil. So there's no sort of rationale for this other than, just the president wanting to raise tariffs based upon his whims, his opinions.
Next time you get into a debate with a MAGA person who's swearing that these tariffs are, first of all, not taxes, send them to this video. Next time you're debating a MAGA person who thinks that tariffs is a good idea to try to recruit revenue, send them to this video. You just heard Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House, say that Trump makes this shit up on a whim. We all know Trump goes to use the bathroom 4 o'clock in the morning, takes his phone with him, and he just tweets or live socials every damn thing that's on his mind as he's taking a crapper. And God knows I'm glad I'm not one of the people working at the White House when he's doing that with them fucking cankles. The tariffs was always a farce, ladies and gentlemen. Always. It was a way for rich people to put a consumption tax on middle class and poor because the businesses are not paying for it. This was a way so that rich people could get another tax decrease in order to make us, the middle class and poor, pay for it. Now, granted, for me, it's not going to bother me that much. But that's not the point for me. The point is I want to see everybody prospering. At the very least, I want to know everybody can have the very foundation of what they need: food, clothes, medicine, education, quality time with your family, being able to take vacations. I want to make sure people have all that before we sit around here and keep watching these fucking millionaires get 2 and 3 Rolls Royce, get another yacht, and go find them 2 more French models and take them out to the ocean where they can basically do Jeffrey Epstein things without any law following them. That's what we just did here. Now, Trump did mention, and this is one of his good ideas, believe it or not, that he would love to see some of the revenue coming in from these tariffs be given back to the American people as dividend. Now, this is where we get into issues of the ruling class want to keep the other class fighting each other so that they can continue to socialize the government, which they keep telling us not to do, and then they get the profit off the gains. Take a listen to this.
The president has an executive order around this idea that banks have been discriminating against conservatives.
Wrong clip. I ain't got the clip. But we'll get back to that in a minute because that was another fuck up by Trump. But basically, Trump came out and said he would like to give dividends from the money they're earning from the tariffs. Paul Ryan basically said, hell to the no, we should take that money and pay down the deficit. That bothers me because who decreased the revenue so that they can have more revenue in their pocket? The rich people. And now he's coming out and telling you, the American people, F your bank account. Mine is more important. And when there's a surplus of money, we need to pay down our debt versus helping you out, even though we helped ourselves out who don't need the help. You need to give more to the country when our asses ain't going to do nothing but smile. People, you can control this. You have the control to take power and vote and start local voting. These people, and I'm talking to MAGA on this one, the redneck MAGA that looks like he scales mountains with his 2 front teeth, that loves to go to NASCAR rides every single weekend, that genuinely hates black people, think that brown and black people are the reason he can't get ahead, when really it's the ruling class, the rich class that you just gave the most power to in any election's history. If you want to have better quality of life, stop voting for Republicans, period. Vote for Democrat. And if you don't want to vote against your interests, just don't fucking vote at all. Sit your ass home because they are telling you they don't care about you. Yes, the best way to get rid of debt is to try to increase your revenue as best you can and cut. Well, what did they do? They cut and then they reduced revenue by giving the tax break to the rich people. And they tried to say they was going to fix the revenue issue with the tariffs, and that's not playing out. And it's not going to play out. This is just something Trump used to lie to the American people. And as always, Fox News and MAGA fell for the banana in the tailpipe. No, excuse me. They fell for being the person on the bottom of Menage a Three getting licked by someone who has a spiked tongue, as always. Last thing we're going to cover today, Trump is talking about bank discrimination against Republicans. Who has been discriminating the most, even getting on microphones and saying things are woke? Trump. Discrimination. Y'all remember that helicopter that crashed right after Trump got in office? The first thing out of his damn mouth was DEI did it. Well, take a look at what he's complaining about now when it comes to bank discrimination. And I explain to you how he's just lying. It's just another ploy for him to write an executive order. And MAGA eats it up like it's molasses on my grandma biscuits.
The president has an executive order around this idea that banks have been discriminating against conservatives. I'm curious, as somebody who's a conservative, whether you think that's true.
If it's true, it's absolutely outrageous. And so they ought to be able to fix this with regulations to make sure that that doesn't happen. If you're debanking someone based upon their political beliefs, that's totally outrageous. I don't know to what extent that has happened, if it's happened. I don't know the answer.
Well, that's the question. No, I'm curious. In the circles you travel,
I've not heard that in the circles I travel. In Wisconsin, I live in Janesville, Wisconsin. I've not heard that that happens to conservatives, but maybe it is. I don't know, but this ought to be settled pretty easily through, clear regulations.
But I think part of what's happened, and this is what we were discussing, is there are industries where maybe more conservatives have sort of flowed into them. Crypto, for example, the gun industry and the like. And so I think what was happening prior was the banks that have their regulations obviously around
ESG,
or either around reputational risks or anti-money laundering. And so there was a concern about that with crypto. And so that was what I think.
Yeah, there was some ESG stuff on that. If you remember.
Y'all hear that? I would encourage some of you all to watch the CNBC show in the morning. They come on from like 6 to about 9, Squawk on the Street, because you can really understand what the rich business class is saying and how you can tell who's got our backs and who doesn't. And the majority of them don't have our backs. This is just another ruse, ladies and gentlemen. As Andrew clearly laid out the case to Paul Ryan. And Paul Ryan even said in his rich circles, there hasn't been any bank discrimination. That would be because your rich circle is not doing the street level shit that the bank has to protect themselves from. The reason why it seemed like there was discrimination against Republicans is because the bank put restrictions on the way you could utilize money for selling guns as a measure to protect the American people. Who dibble dabbles in gun the most in this country? It's Republicans. How do I know about these rules? I have a gun. I go to the store to buy bullets. They tell me they can't use my debit card or my credit card because of the rules with the bank trying to ensure safety, that nothing is being laundered, nothing is being done with impropriety, so they need cash. Cool, I'm fine with that. No problem. And then the other issue he mentioned, it's crypto. Banks not wanting to deal with crypto because it has led to a lot of money laundering. Look at this Jeffrey Epstein thing we just found out from him, laundering money with crypto and laundering money with homes he owned. So these two things dovetail with Republicans. And as Republicans are always trying to tell us when there's a mass shooting, it's not the gun that shot somebody, it's the person. Well, Republicans, it's not the person that's getting discriminated against, it's the object. It's the fucking gun. It's the object that can destroy people. It's the cryptocurrency that you launder your money through. Folks, they forget that the people that do the most projecting, Republicans, the people that do the most deflecting, Republicans, the people that do the most touting American capitalism being the best system on the planet Earth, Republicans, are doing the complete opposite behind your fucking back. They're taking steroids and telling you that they're natural with big muscles. They are the ones laundering all this money, trying to circumvent the government from paying taxes. They are the ones that are hoarding all these guns and in some cases selling them illegally. And that's why banks put these regulations in place so that this doesn't happen. But they want you to try to believe that there's discrimination. When has Trump ever cared about discrimination? Never. Because he's never been discriminated against. When has Trump ever cared about discrimination among people? Never. Because if he did, he would stop arresting He would stop arresting minorities and those from other countries illegally without giving them their rights. He doesn't give a damn. This is just a ploy so that they can filter their money, because he's been the crypto president. He's been the you can have your guns president, so that they can throw more of that shit out on these streets, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay informed. Stay informed. And whenever you hear something that doesn't sound true, just look it up. Go to any one of these search engines nowadays that just filter for you. It can be ChatGPT, it can be Claude, it can be DeepSeek. And when you need some music to take your mind off the craziness that goes into politics, check out my guy at Velvet Sunset 77. Listen to the kind of music he's putting out. Listen to it. The link is in the video description. Please watch more of my videos. That's how we get to grow on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel, the Velvet Sunset 77. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe, share it with your people. I'll be going live on Thursday night with my homie LZ to dunk all over MAGA again, give facts and tell stories to try to help people be inspired to start voting in their best interest. And until that next Sex is Hell, Politics of Being Black video, you get my girl, Lady J. Outro.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.